Hello everyone, welcome to this month's Ask the CFP segment brought to you by Executive Compensation Group. This month's question is, should I buy or rent a second home? If you've ever traveled to Gulf Shores, Alabama, you know all about their beautiful white sand beaches. It's a great area to spend a vacation if you enjoy the beach and warm weather. If you have a favorite vacation spot somewhere in the world, you've probably wondered if it's better to buy or rent each time. Obviously, buying a second home means you'll feel compelled to spend more time there versus traveling to other places. Renting gives you more flexibility. Aside from that personal preference, you also have to spend the down payment if you're going to buy a place. Spending 20% of the property's value from your nest egg could affect your other goals. An $800,000 place on the beach would require $160,000 of cash for the 20% down payment. Even if you only put down 10% and paid PMI or a higher interest rate on the mortgage, that's still $80,000 of your hard-earned income going into a second home. If the down payment isn't in the cards for you, renting may be better. The second consideration is ongoing costs. With a rental property, you may be paying for cleaning fees, processing fees, and other costs on top of the rental fee. With buying a second home, you may now have a second electric bill, a second heating or cooling bill, a second homeowner's assessment, a second property tax bill, a second insurance policy, and more. If you plan on living in this property for months out of the year, this may make sense. But if you only plan on visiting for a week or two or three out of the year, this can become much more expensive than renting. The third consideration is whether you would use the property for rental income while you're not using it. This part is tricky, but let's assume you want to buy a second home and visit there 2 weeks out of the year. Let's also assume you can rent that place out to other people for 15 weeks out of the year. Now, this will really depend on the demand for the property, the average temperature there year-round, whether it's family-friendly or more for retirees, etc. If you can rent this place out for $1,000 a week, that's $15,000 per year from rental income. Keep in mind, you may owe income tax on this rental income, plus you need to deduct your cleaning expenses, repairs, mortgage interest, and the other expenses that I mentioned earlier. After all your expenses, if you have a net after-tax income of $2,500, you made $500 more than you would have paid if you would have rented a place just like this for 2 weeks instead of buying it. Now, it's hard to predict how much income you may earn from renting out a second home and estimating all your repair and maintenance costs, but it's something you should consider. If the expected income amount is close to what you would pay for renting a place instead, it may not be worth the risk of buying it. The fifth consideration is appreciation or sometimes depreciation. If you buy the second home versus rent it, the property may increase in value over time. If you own it, that increase in value is yours. You may sell that property one day and realize the rewards of that appreciation. As we learned in 2008, real estate can also lose value. Not only can real estate lose value in an economic downturn, it can also lose value in a natural disaster. If you're considering buying a second home near the ocean, you may have to contend with hurricanes. If it's in the mountains of California, you may have to contend with fires. These are some pros and cons with buying versus renting. Now, plenty of people buy second homes, but I'm generally a fan of renting. I want someone else to take on the risk while I keep the flexibility of vacationing anywhere I please. If you like what you heard and want more, visit our website at executivecompensatingroup.com. And if you have a question you'd like to submit for next month's video, send it to tfreeman@rfgadvisory.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month.